What up, hockey family? Welcome back to Trapped Under Ice. This is episode 8. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking directly to the parents. This one here is going to be for you guys, for the parents that have been in hockey for a while or parents that are just starting out. But before we get into all of that, remember, like and subscribe, support the channel. That way I can keep doing this. And to all the people that sent in their questions, please be patient with me. I will do another question and answer video very soon. But thank you again for all the great questions. But as I was getting ready for this video, I was searching through the internet to get some ideas and some tips on how parents can cope in the world of hockey. And that sounds kind of weird to say. How do you cope in the world of hockey? What do you mean? You drop your kid off, you get them dressed, put them on the ice, that's it. Oh, if it was only that simple. So there's a lot of things in hockey, in the community of hockey, that we kind of forget about or don't realize when we start into it that is a part of that community. And what I have here is a list of 10 tips on how to keep your sanity during the hockey season. So without further ado, we're going to jump into number 1. Hockey is a fun game, period. So I think this is something that gets forgotten as kids move through the first ranks of hockey and into the higher ranks of hockey. Hockey is supposed to be fun. It's a recreational sport. It's a team sport. It's the fastest team sport in the world, and it is beloved across this country and around the world. But ultimately, kids play hockey because it's fun, and we forget that a lot of the times. We're worried about our egos or your kids' egos or this or that or being in AAA or winning is everything. No, guys, remember, at the end of the day, the kids just want to have fun, right? We tend to set expectations upon our kids in hockey, right? I played at high levels of hockey, so I feel like Sasha should as well, and Titan later on down the road. He should be able to. But we have to remember that ultimately, this is a fun, recreational sport. Nothing more. Especially for the kids starting out. Remember that. Number 2, development is more important than winning. So as a coach, I'm a huge advocate for this one. I've coached a number of different teams in a number of different sports over my years. And the biggest thing, and when I go into a season, is I want to develop those teams and those kids as far as I can within the time that I have, right? And that, to me, as a coach, is a huge goal. And that is what I measure my success at. So if I feel that I've taken a team and really motivated them and helped them develop and get them where they need to be, then to me, the season is a success. To a lot of parents, unless they won every tournament and their kid got 40 goals, guess what? It wasn't a success. Did your kid develop over the course of the season? If the answer is yes, then that's what you should be happy with. We can't control how a game or a season plans out. Hell, this last year proved it with COVID and everything else. So remember that your child's development should be a top of mind thing. Are they getting faster? Are they getting stronger? Is their stick handling and shooting getting better? Is their passes more accurate? Things like this. Are they understanding the game more? These are the things that are important, because that means next year they're going to be ready to step into that next level of hockey. Development is more important than winning. And we see this. Like, if your kid has a good game, but your team loses, your kid still had a good game. They played well. Understand that and see the development side of things. Everybody wants to win. Development is more important. Number 3, don't worry about status. Okay. This is a big one for me. One of the biggest mistakes that parents make in hockey as their kids are moving up through the ranks is this obsession with AAA, with rep teams. There's an obsession with it, that it's like this standard that their kid has to play at. it's a status symbol to some people. I'm going to tell you right now that just because your kid didn't play AAA in novice, Adam, or Pee Wee doesn't mean they're not going to flip a switch and play AAA at Bantam, Midget, Junior. That can happen. A lot of the times the kids that are phenoms in the first few years of hockey aren't phenoms later on down the road. Normally it's because at the beginning they're bigger and stronger. Well, guess what? Everybody will catch up. I've seen this in my time in hockey where the kids that were absolutely phenomenal when I first started out ended up riding the pine near the end on the lower tier rep teams or even in the Metro leagues because they couldn't hack it. Everybody caught up to them and passed them. So this obsession with the status of AAA, let it go. Let it go. I understand you want to be proud and say, my child plays for AAA. And the look of disgust I see on parents' faces when they talk about their kid getting cut from AAA, it's like, okay, this happens. Your kid's not ready. Not yet. They will be. Right? Sooner or later, they'll break through that glass ceiling and they'll get to where they need to be if they keep working at it. Right? And like I say this, that Sasha getting cut from a AAA team actually turned out to offer her the best season of hockey she could have asked for. She developed leaps and bounds at a B level. It was huge. It was great. So don't get so caught up in the letters, right? As long as your kid is developing, that's the important part. As long as they're having fun, that's the important part. Playing at a AAA level, yes, it's great. With travel and rep fees and more travel and extra ice times and everything else, there's a lot to it. But it's not the be all and end all. Don't assume because your kid didn't make Adam AAA or under 11 AAA that they're not going anywhere. That's a ridiculous way to look at it. Number 4, don't compare. So this one is really important, guys. This one hits home because I hear it all the time. Don't compare your child to the other kids on their team. All right? And what I mean by this is don't say things like, well, why isn't Billy or Susie playing on the top line? I don't understand why this kid is there and my child's not. I don't understand why this one's starting on the power play and this kid's not. You can think these things. Hell, I've even said it in a past video. You can ask the coach these things. You can. Do not say them in amongst parents. And especially don't say them to your child. Because the next time they walk into the dressing room or they're sitting on the bench next to that player and they get called to go out on the power play, that's all your kid's going to be thinking. It creates animosity amongst the players and amongst the parents. Right? If you run your mouth about a kid in the stands, you don't think that's going to get back to the parents? Come on. Think about this for a second. All you're doing is creating a divide and driving a wedge between the parents and even the players because they're sitting back and they're hearing this, right? It's terrible. Don't compare your child to the other members of their team, right? This just doesn't do you or your kid any good. Commend them, right? Tell them if they work a little bit harder, maybe, or they could ask the coach, what do they need to do to get on that power play? Or what do they need to do to get on the penalty kill, right? What do they need to do to be on the top line? That's my favorite one, the top line, the first line. And guys, I'm going to say this again. The first line, there is no such thing as a first line. We call it line 1, 2, and 3 just to make it easy. The first line isn't your best line. It's just a different line. I've said this repeatedly in past videos. You got to get this out of your head. If you're comparing your kid on the second line to the kids on the first line, they're with these other players because they work together, right? Coaches don't put their best players all on one line and send them out and then leave the other two lines to suffer. They don't do that. They develop a cohesive lineup system that works across the board. So every line can have the potential to be a threat to the other team as well as being strong defensively. This is how it's done. So don't get caught up with first line, second line, and start comparing your child to every player on the team, especially in public. Number 5, avoid politics. Here's another big one that I love. So in hockey, in the community, if you didn't know this going in and nobody warned you, I'm sorry. Hockey is politics. Minor hockey is politics. It was when I was a kid, and it still is now. There's a good chance that if you're not best friends with the coach of the AAA team, your kid's not going to play on the AAA team because they've already selected a kid that their best friend's kid. I'm not going to sugarcoat this one, guys. This is the honest to God truth. Coaches will pick players over other players just because they're friends with the parents of that first kid. This will happen, right? Coaches tend to do this thing like make promises. Oh yeah, don't worry, Billy or Susie, they'll be on the team. Well, you're not going to go back on that, right? And this is a terrible thing in hockey, but it's very common. Don't get caught up in this. Don't get caught up in the politics. Don't start taking sides. You're there for your child, not for yourself. And yeah, if you kiss ass to the coach, your kid might get a shot at playing AAA. I will tell you right now, if they squeak onto the team only because of you, they'll be treated like a second-class citizen. Because the coaches that do this are the same ones that will run 2 lines, not 3, and most of the kids will end up riding the pine and they'll play their top players only. You will see minimal ice time. I guarantee it. Don't get involved in the politics of hockey and the organizations in minor hockey. Don't do it. You want to volunteer and you want to be a part of it and you want to develop kids? Absolutely. Go for it. Don't get involved in the politics. Don't run your mouth. Let your kids make these teams under their own power and their own steam. This backroom wheeling and dealing does nothing but hurt your kids and hurt the organization and hurt hockey. It happened when I was a kid. My father had the best line for this one. I guess these kids aren't going to make it because they don't live in the right postal code. I remember this line perfectly. And the best part was the coach at the time didn't have a response because my dad was right. They only wanted kids from a certain area. It's the way it goes, unfortunately, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. But I might be wrong. I hope I am. Number 6, always be positive. So I've spoken about this before, guys. And I'm going to say it again because I really think it needs to be said. You have to be positive with your kids. And when I say that, I don't mean sugarcoat things. If they make a mistake, they make a mistake. You got to talk to them about it. And you got to bring it forward and make sure they understand what they could have done differently to avoid that situation in the future. And in all honesty, those are important conversations. Don't leave it just to the coach, but have those conversations with your child. What were you thinking in this situation? How do you think you could have done it better? Right? And again, I'm bringing this one forward because this is a big one. And every single one of my friends that I played hockey with can vouch to this as well. Do not get your kid in the car after a game and go through everything they did wrong and run the laundry list of criticisms that you have brewing around in your head. Don't do it. I'm telling you this, if you do this, you will push your child out of hockey. I guarantee it. This is nothing but a bad situation. Don't do it. Anyways, I'll leave that one alone. But you can be positive. Again, your kid gives 100% at practice and they come off the ice and they're dripping with sweat. Pat them on the back and tell them you're proud. Right? Be positive. You'll get them next time. Get out there and do it again. Right? Motivate them, empower them, and inspire them to be better. Don't demean them and beat them down. This whole idea of tough love, let it go. It doesn't work. Not with kids. All right. That type of stuff is fine when they're 16, 17, 18 years old, but not when they're around the age of 10. It doesn't make any sense. The other side of this is the coaches. Now, when I played rep hockey, especially in my first year bantam, I was scared to death because I played bantam AAA and I stepped onto the ice. And in my first game, I screwed up big. I made a huge mistake and it cost us the first goal, right? And as I'm skating back to the bench, I'm waiting and I know it's coming, that I am going to get chewed out and I'm going to get yelled at and I'm going to be sitting on the bench for the next 20 minutes and I'm not going to see the ice. So I go back and I sit down on the bench. I'm feeling bad enough by myself. My defense partner, Ben, he passed me on the shoulder. He's like, don't worry about it, man. My coach waits about a minute or so and then makes his way down. He puts his hand on my shoulder and leans in and says, get back out there and get that one back. That's all he said to me. He didn't get mad at me. He understood that I was nervous. He understood that I was shaky. And then he motivated me to get back out there and do things right this time. That's important. If a kid makes a mistake, they make a mistake. That's hockey. Hell, we see it at the professional level. Flurry. That's all I'm going to say. Players make mistakes. Coaches, you know what to do. Don't chew them out. Give them a moment. Let them roll it around themselves. Then step forward and say something inspiring. Get back out there. Shake that one off. Okay, now that we got that out of our system, let's get down to business, right? These are the things that can help a player in hockey, help them huge. So remember, this is important. Number 7, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So guys, hockey, like anything, to become good at hockey, to become great at hockey, it takes a long time. I've said this in past videos. You have to understand that your kid is going to develop, and then they're going to plateau, right? That doesn't mean they're done developing. That means they've hit a plateau and their will power through it and keep going, given the right motivation. You have to give them the tools that they need to be able to play this game at the highest levels. That's important, to continue to motivate them, even at these times when they're struggling, and push them through it, right? I don't mean yell at them and scream at them. Just push them through it. Get them to the other side. Get them that training that they might need. Find a coach that speaks to them well, that can really develop them and push them past this plateau. This is important. But remember, this takes years to develop. Your kid isn't going to go away for a 1-week hockey camp and come back and be like picking top corners and bar downs from the blue line with a slap shot if they've never been able to hit the net before. That's not how this works. It takes years to develop these skills, right? And then that's just one part of it. This is a very difficult sport to play at the highest levels. It takes a long time and a lot of dedication to learn that. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't expect them to wake up tomorrow and be able to do what Connor McDavid or Sidney Crosby or Ovechkin does. It doesn't happen. With time, it will. Right now, just motivate them. It'll help. Number 8, always take a step back. So parents, I've commented on something comparable to this in a past video. I made the comment, don't embarrass your kids. I've sat in hockey rinks as a parent, as a spectator, as well as a coach. And it's insane sometimes. Parents are losing their minds, cursing and swearing at coaches and refs and players and other parents, and it's nuts. Other parents, and not even the parents of the other team, of their own team. It's insane. Take a step back. Sometimes literally get away from it. But take a step back before this starts to brew up. Hockey is a very passionate game and is a very passionate sport, and people get fired up at the littlest things. We do, right? We love this sport and we love what it is and what it's about. And with that comes a lot of emotion. But as a parent, take a step back when you're feeling that happening. If you stand up and you start cursing and swearing, it's time to take a walk. It's time to step away for a moment and be like, okay, I got to get my head on straight. Because this is not helping anybody. You're getting yourself riled up for no reason. It's a minor hockey game, right? It could be a championship game, but does it really warrant screaming and yelling at a ref and making an ass out of yourself and embarrassing your child in the process? No. I have seen some of the worst things. I've been screamed at. I have had terrible things said to me while sitting in a penalty box. I've been spit on. I've had drinks thrown on me. Everything under the sun. Why on earth, as a kid playing minor hockey, this happened to me? I can't even imagine. But these things happen all the time. Don't be that parent. Don't be that jackass that does this to make a scene. Don't do it. If you feel like you need to yell at the ref or swear at them or yell at your coach, whatever, take a walk. Get up, take a walk. Because obviously you're starting to get pissed off about something that is probably pretty irrelevant and you're going to make a mistake. Number 9, be aware of the signs. So for hockey parents, this one's a hard one to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's going to save you down the road. Believe it or not all kids want to go pro. Not all kids want to stay in hockey. Not all kids want to play contact hockey. Not all kids want to get up at some ungodly hour and go and practice and play. Some kids don't want to continue in hockey. But unfortunately, a lot of the times, those kids are scared to tell their parents they don't want to be there. Start looking for the signs. If your kid doesn't want to play hockey, don't force them into it. If they truly don't want to be there, don't force them into it. Because then it's miserable for both of you. And I bring this one forward because I have seen this. And it's heartbreaking to watch. There's a kid in our organization that wants nothing to do with playing hockey, wants nothing to do with it. Will find any excuse at all during practice just to come off the ice and sit on the bench. That's it. Wants nothing to do with it. But their parents want them to play. For whatever reason, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. The kid obviously doesn't want to be there. They have no interest in the sport or the game. They're not making friends. They don't want to be there. And the parents are completely oblivious to it. Or they're choosing not to see it. One of the two. If your kid doesn't want to play hockey, don't force them. But look for the signs. Right? You know your kids well enough. You know when they're lying. You know when they're blowing smoke. You know this. Right? Watch for those signs. It's important. And your kids will appreciate if you're like, you know what? You want to hang up the skates? Not a problem. Number 10, educate yourself. Okay, parents, time to do some work. So, little Billy, Susie, Tommy, whatever, wants to develop to the point that they can go to AAA. They want to continue through all the way from Tots, Novice, Atom, Pee-wee, Bantam, Midget, Junior. They want to keep on going. Well, you need to educate yourself. You need to know this game as well as they do. You need to be able to help them develop and get them into the right programs, the right camps, teaching from the right coaches, things like that. Do not go based solely on a winning coach, right? That coach that will do anything to win. No, that's not who you want. You want a drill instructor, no problem. Hockey's got plenty of them. If you want a coach that's truly going to develop your child, that takes some research to find those coaches. Those coaches that are putting together practice plans and working with an entire team. Right? No coach is going to step on the ice and develop your child and only your child. They're going to develop the team as a whole. And a lot of coaches out there that are those gotta win at all cost coaches are going to develop the team. And when I say that, I mean develop the players that he or she intends on playing. Everybody else he doesn't care about. Find those coaches that will develop your child along with the rest of the team, the entire team. And this may not be a AAA coach. This might be a AA coach, might be an A, might be a B. Hell, it might be a Metro coach that can actually develop your child more. Learn what it means to develop in hockey. Learn what is necessary to take your child to the next level, right? Motivate them. Keep their eye fixated on the prize that they have set for themselves. But you need to do a lot of the work as well. You need to understand this game and this sport and what it truly takes to succeed in this game at the highest levels. If that's where your kid wants to go, I have no doubt that they have a potential of getting there. But it's going to take work, not just from them, from everybody. There has to be a system and a support system in place for your kid to develop to that level. It takes a village. It really does. Right? Like, my parents did everything they could to develop me in hockey, and I appreciate them so much for it. I love this sport, and I had opportunities that a lot of people didn't have, and it was great. But I also knew that it was not easy. There was a lot of time invested, a lot of money invested, a lot of money. So these are things that you need to take into account. But you need to know what these situations are going to be if you ever want to help your child get through them. So you need to educate yourself. Anyways, guys, that is my top 10 list of ways to keep your sanity in hockey. And some of them are more important than others, but they all kind of interwork. Keep these things in mind. They'll help you navigate minor hockey and the organizations and the politics and everything else, and provide a great environment and a great situation for your kid to continue to develop. Hockey's a fun sport. They can develop over time. They will have some great experiences and they'll have some bad ones. That's the point. There are life lessons to be learned in hockey. It is a team sport like no other. And it brings together a team so quickly, and the bonds that your kids will have with other players and with coaches are incredible. But remember, there are ways to keep your sanity through all of this, because it can be a slippery slope. You get involved in the politics, or you overreact to something, or you make comments. It's natural to want to do these things. You have to keep these items that I've brought to you in mind so you can navigate this and truly enjoy your child playing the sport that they love. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped. Remember, like and subscribe, support the channel, and I'll make sure I get that question and answer video up as quick as I can. Anyways, as always,